But today I want to celebrate with you the World Vegan Day here in Australia because I like to sometimes keep my vegan friends happy too. I do. So I came up with this amazing dish, which is a baba ganoush and mushroom tart. And I will tell you an amazing story about the possible origin of baba ganoush in a minute. Who am I? My name is Walter Trupp. I used to manage and run some of Europe's best restaurants, and today I run my own cooking school. Okay, first get some garlic and then some eggplants. Make sure the eggplants are really ripe so they don't taste, a bit bitter like they sometimes can. Okay, then peel the garlic, and you're gonna cut the garlic into wedges because you want to basically insert them into the eggplant. And the eggplant, you just cut it in half because I want to get some flavors, some roasting flavors on the eggplant flesh. I wouldn't get that if I just bake it in the skin. Poke a few holes in it, in goes the garlic, and then you turn your oven up to around 220 degrees or 440 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you brush the eggplants with a little bit of olive oil, just a little bit, not too much. You want to sort of not soak that thing with oil. And then into a tray, or you could even bake it on a cake rack if you want to do that, and then cook it for at least 35 to 45 minutes depending on the size of the eggplant. Then get some filo pastry. So then cut that into circles. So what I'm going to basically do, that's going to be my base. So the filo pastry, I'm going to sort of try to recreate a bit of puff pastry, where I'm going to take the sheets, brush them with oil, and then put another sheet on the top so they don't stick together, and they're going to be later on super crunchy, super crispy. And that's what I want to be the base of my tart, because otherwise it's not a tart if you don't have any pastry in it, isn't it? So it's still all vegan, isn't it? It's pretty good. I'm doing a good job today. And then brush more oil on it. So I do like 3 to 4 layers, okay? And then you get a tray, and then you get some baking paper, and then you put those discs onto the baking paper, and then I will cover it with a second layer of baking paper. And then I'll get a heavy tray, and then I press it down so they stay nice and flat. Then you switch your oven on to 160 degrees Celsius or 320 degrees Fahrenheit. You put that in the oven for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. Be careful, they brown up really fast. So the next thing is the garnish on the top, which is Lebanese eggplants or small eggplants. So you cut them as thin as you can. You could use a slicer if you have one. I don't have one, so I just try to cut them as thin as I can. Mushrooms, you can use any mushrooms you want. You get some really nice firm button mushrooms. Check out my video on cooking mushrooms to learn everything about that too. You can also use some king oyster mushrooms. Porcini mushrooms would be absolutely amazing. I love that dish. Back in Austria, I always used porcini mushrooms, and that was really good too. And then I sort of get just a pipe of some tin foil, the paper roll inside. I kept that, and I just put some tin foil in there because I want to shape those, eggplant slices, which I'm going to deep fry in a minute. But before that, I take out my pastry sheets, I take out my eggplants. You can see I've got some really nice smoky flavors onto that. They're really dry. That's great. So then just remove that skin and scrape out all the flesh. So all the flesh needs to go out, and then basically set that aside. If you find that the flesh is still pretty wet, too wet to assemble a tart, I'm going to show you a trick in a second. But before that, I want to chop it sort of roughly. In French cooking, you also call that eggplant caviar, which is literally the same thing. Same cooking method. And then I put it in a strainer because I find mine is still a little bit wet, so I just want to get rid of any of that water because that would really mess the tart up later on. So let that sit in a strainer for at least half an hour, so all the water is going to come out. Here is a pastry sheet. It's perfectly golden brown. I love it. Oh. So you could literally store them for a few days in a dry container, and they're really good for that. So the next thing is the eggplants on the top, the garnish. So I just sold it. So that's a bit of a sort of a chefy dish. It's an à la minute dish, which means you're only gonna have to assemble it right at the end. So the eggplants, the deep fried one I show you here, as well as the mushrooms, you only can cook them in the last minute. It's kind of half prepared. So just dust it with bit of salt, and then a bit of flour, and then you just put that into some hot deep frying oil. In the beginning you see it bubbles a lot, and that means there's a lot of water in the eggplants, and once eventually the eggplants lose a lot of the water, you will find that the deep frying moves less, it bubbles less. So that's one of the indicators that you're almost there. If there's very little bubbling in the oil, that means your eggplants are almost ready. So then put them into the mold like you saw me here and shape them. Next, cook the mushrooms. So now we're gonna move really fast. That's all the stuff you did the last minute, and then just turn them over, cook them with very little fat, season them with salt, pepper, and a little bit of thyme, and that's basically it. And now we're gonna go and assemble that dish. So set them all aside, and let's go. I'm so excited about that. Baba Ganoush is ready. So you can now obviously cream it up with a little bit of olive oil, but I'm gonna use mayonnaise, so it's not vegan anymore. Sorry, vegans. If you are, just use some olive oil. That's it's doing exactly the same thing. Then season it with salt and season it with pepper, and look at that. Ah, that looks so good. So next plate, a little bit of that eggplant mixture on the bottom. On goes the pastry sheets. Squeeze it nicely down, so you can see because of the oil in there, they're really flexible too. A ring around, and then just start layering the mushrooms in a circular motions until they're all around. And that looks pretty good too already, doesn't it? So next thing is just the not so pretty pieces of mushrooms. You fill them into the center, and then a little ring on the top, and in goes your eggplant caviar, or Baba Ganoush would have added some tahini to it, and in go those eggplant chips, which are super crispy, super tasty. And sort of just shape them all around, and then what I do, I put a little bit of mayonnaise on the sides, and then I top them with some Australian finger limes. So finger limes, otherwise you just could do a little piece of lemon, you know, just segment the lemon and put a little wedge on that. A little bit of chervil or any sort of herb to make it look pretty. And I sprinkle a bit of thyme over my eggplant tart too, and here we go. Doesn't it look amazing? I mean, I absolutely love it, and I hope you love it too. And here's a little story for you about the origins of Baba Ganoush. Now, Baba in Arabic means dad. So apparently there was once a guy called Ganoush, who, by the way, was also a dad. They called him Baba Ganoush. And he was apparently the first ever registered and documented vegan, and it was mentioned on some stone tablets somewhere, I think. So Baba Ganoush, therefore, was the founding father of what we know today is the vegan movement. I'm sure Baba Ganoush would have never ever thought he would have so many followers all around the world. I mean, it's an amazing story, isn't it? Wow. You think I made it all up? Well, maybe, but let's say it would be true. I mean, it would make an amazing story. You have to agree on that. Oh, by the way, you need to check out my online courses in the link below, and thank you so much for watching. Check out my video on lobster carpaccio to see another entree like this, and otherwise, have a great day. Cheers. Oh, not good. Tastes so good.